How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Will, here to talk about UFC Atlanta, the dumpster fire that was UFC Atlanta. So we'll be talking about Kamaru Usman versus Buckley, Thug Rose, Wellmaker, Paul Craig versus Bellato. If you're joining us live, that's what we're going through. If you're just joining us later, there will be timestamps. You can skip forward and just click through, jump to whatever you want to hear about. If you want to hear about the Bellato stuff, there will be a timestamp. But before we get into all that, please like, subscribe, do all that stuff. If you don't want to watch and you just want to listen, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found. And then on social media, it's just Story of the Fight. Go to storyofthefight.com. It'll list all of our socials: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. We're on Twitch as well. Easy to find. Story of the Fight on everything. But YouTube is probably the best bet. It's just me solo today. We got Rich in the background, working the ones and twos for the slideshows. Look at that. But no Ramiro today. He's out doing Father's Day stuff because he's a father and it's Father's Day. So shout out to everybody. Happy Father's Day. Shout out Austin. Thanks for joining. Says, yo, let's go. This card was buns though. UFC is declining. I won't be told otherwise. I wish one could get their shit together because the time is legit now to make a push. Blunderbub, also happy Father's Day. My brothers in Christ, what are we doing? It was a dumpster fire. It's just the best way to put it for myself. I mean, we'll get into the fights in just a second, but real quick, my recap of just like the bullshit. If I could find it, it was like, okay, we had a nip slip in the first fight. A hyped prospect lost via lay and pray. There was a brutal knockout in like a huge mismatch to just put another prospect over. Don't really need that. A bunch of sparring sessions type fights with like headbutts and foul, like eye pokes and shit like that. Potentially the craziest flop I've ever seen in the UFC, at least. Potentially, we'll get into that. At one point, when they showed the little the tweets, like mid-fight, they forgot to make the background transparent, so it was just a black screen with a tweet that just like covered the whole screen during a fight. We had a headbutt TKO. Like what? How does that work? So yeah, it was a shit show. It also took like 7 hours. The whole event was like 7 hours long, which is rough when the fights aren't good. But there's plenty to talk about because of all that drama. So we'll just get into it. We got it on screen. Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley just ripping through the division, fighting all the old dudes of the division and finishing them. Like Alex Morono, Vicente Luque, Wonderboy, Colby, like all these guys that were like at the top 5-6 years ago. And then they give him Kamaru, who's 38 and has no knees, apparently. And we're like, well, continue with the trend. But the fight was actually, it was a decent fight, I guess. More so just because it was like, is this going to be the Usman of old? Or is this going to be old Usman? And the fight starts, and I think within like 30 seconds or something like that, he's in on takedowns. He's getting takedowns with like pretty much no resistance. And Buckley's just not knowing what to do. I mean, I don't have like the stats or anything like that. Maybe I should pull them up. But I mean, the top control from Usman was like vintage Usman. This was like drowning Usman, and Buckley just couldn't do anything. I mean, first round, 4 minutes and 25 seconds of top control from Usman. That's crazy, especially at this stage of Usman's career. Blunderbub says, all the wrestling haters mad at this fight. I didn't care because he was hammering Buckley the whole time. Yes, because yes. Yeah, and Buckley was talking the whole time, which is usually not a good sign. If you're getting taken down, you can't get up, and you start talking shit, and it's like, that's not gonna help. That's not the technique to get up. But yeah, Usman was kind of beating him up there on top. First round, 4 minutes 25 top control. Second round, 3 minutes and 8 seconds of top control. Third round, 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Fourth round, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. So like each round, damn near at least half the round was Buckley on his back. And then the fifth round was a little sketchy for Usman. he's just not moving the same, right? Like, I know part of it is because of, I mean, he jokes at the end. He's like, everybody's talking about my knees, but fuck you guys in the post fight. Yeah, we can't show fight footage, but Rich can do the stop motion on the slideshow to make it look. That's brutal. Uh, Austin says once again the UFC proves the rules are only a suggestion, blatantly foul an opponent. So badly he can't continue. His Cody will still get the win. Yes, we will talk about that. Uh, Blood says Evie said there was so many fights that could have been great. All slop, no bang. Damn, damn, that's rough. That's a good. I like that phrase though. All slop, no bang. But yeah, I mean, you could see most of this fight was just Buckley being frustrated off his back, which we've seen so many times before. But it was cool to see Usman just still put in the work. At 38 years old, he's still getting these takedowns. There was at one point, I think it was the fourth round, where Buckley like finally defended a takedown, and Usman's still on it, but he's got his like legs spread. He's trying to dig for underhooks. He's like, "Oh, I'm good here." He's up against the fence, and he starts like looking around, like, "Yeah, I'm stopping takedowns." Usman's just waiting for like 5 seconds, and then just lifts his hips, takes him down. And you're like, "Oh shit, there goes 2 minutes." But yeah, it was frustrating to watch. And shout out Ghost. Shout out Ghost. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's just me solo today, Ghost. Wish Ramiro a happy Father's Day. Ghost, I don't know if you're a dad, but if you are, happy Father's Day. But I think we might have actually put a screenshot of one of your Twitter posts in this slideshow, which might be a good time to go to it, Rich, if it's in there. I'm not sure, because it's mostly just, there it is. the missing uppercut that caused so much drama. This tweet, Ghost, because if you guys, yeah, Buckley's so good at missing punches. Yeah, I think Jack Slack posted he was doing like the preview for this card, and he was talking about how Buckley might be like the highest ranked fighter who just like is unable to land his punches or connect on them. But it hasn't mattered to this point, partially because he's fighting all these old guys, like I mentioned before, but he does hit hard as fuck. So, like, yeah, maybe he has a 25% accuracy, but within that 25%, one of those might put you out, right? So he's kind of gotten away with it up until this point a little bit. In this fight, he had 29% landed across 25 minutes. Ghost says there's no caption on that, but it's offended so many people. It's crazy. The bus driver uppercut. Yeah. Blunderbuff says Buckley's coaches had nothing for him between rounds too. Every round they were like, "You're doing great, but we gotta keep moving. We gotta do this. We gotta," and nothing real. After the fourth round, I think one of his coaches, I didn't see who it was, said something about if your back's up against the fence, you need to change your level to match his. And in the fifth round, he did start stuffing some of the takedowns. Stonewalled him a little bit in that fifth round. 6 takedowns attempted from Usman, 0 landed. But I think part of that was also because Usman was tired at this point. And I mean, he is 38. Like, he looked good here and he got the win and he dominated, but like you could tell it's not the same Usman. This wasn't the crazy pace cardio machine Usman. He did slow down there towards the end. But yeah, I mean, Buckley misses a lot of punches because he swings hard and heavy for all of his punches. There's like barely any, he's not punching to score, he's punching to kill you, and because of that, he's just running at people, throwing like these huge punches that they can kind of see coming from a mile away. But yeah, it's a good win for Usman. He kind of shows, hey, I'm still here. I think he's still an interesting matchup for a lot of people. He said, like, yeah, everybody talks about my knees, but obviously they're fine. And they still seem not great. You see him walk down any set of stairs, and it looks like he's in a ton of pain. And even here, he's not the takedown entries that he's shooting. They're not like he's not like knee tapping or like he's not really like shooting. He's just getting on guys, and you're not gonna see him shoot like a power double from across the cage anymore. It's just not. It doesn't look like it's possible for him. Ghost says, serious now. Buckley might do better if he plays the counter game instead of the blitz game. He can let opponents come to him and meet them halfway. Yeah, I mean, that's a good. It'd be interesting to see because so far in his career, it's just been him trying to kind of like Mike Tyson people and try to like do this huge bob and weave type thing and dart across the octagon throwing punches. Um, but yeah, if he can get someone to come towards him and then explode, that might be good. Blunderbuff says Buckley and Smotherman both proved again that there's a hard ceiling if you can't defend wrestling. It's just like a barrier for entry. You got to be able to stop takedowns. And I know Usman's like elite, right? Like he's former champion. Some people say he's arguably the welterweight GOAT. I wouldn't go that far, but his wrestling is good. So it's like if you can't defend a Kamaru Usman takedown, it's not like you automatically suck at wrestling. But I mean, this was tough. And if you know, hey, I'm going to get taken down, you got to be able to work your way back up. A lot of the times it was just Buckley wasn't really doing much. And maybe he was like, look, I got taken down this round. Conserve the gas tank. I don't want to blow up my muscles working super hard to get up because I need to land these hands. It's my only real shot in this fight. And then he just never was able to capitalize on that either. But it's a good win for Usman. Buckley was kind of surging. Hilarious. I don't know if you guys saw, but his driver couldn't find the arena or something, so he had to like jog to the arena with his team, and then they like wouldn't let him in because he just tried to like walk in the front door. But yeah, hilarious. But yeah, good job, Usman. I think Bilal Muhammad called him out. I guess yeah, just do that fight. I mean, do that fight. Bilal Muhammad's still ranked number 1. I know some people are calling for Sean Brady versus Usman, which could be a fun fight. I think they're both probably chomping at the bit to fight Usman, though, to be honest, at 38. But that's about it. We can move on to the co-main event, which actually for me, this was maybe the fight of the night, arguably at least. The main event got fight of the night, but I would say this probably deserved it more than that at least. Maybe there was another one that could have won it, but yeah, Thug Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick. Rose still seems kind of undersized at this weight class. You could see there was like a strength difference here. Miranda just seems stronger. There's a couple times where she's kind of like out-muscled her, but you could still see that. I know a lot of people are really down on Rose and they hate her and all this stuff mostly because of that Carla Esparza fight and then the Pat Barry stuff, and then she's kind of had some stinkers or just kind of weird performances since losing the belt. But she showed some things in this fight that reminded me of the Rose of old, where Miranda would just throw these combinations where she's like, it's like, I've already committed to this 2 to 3 punch into a kick combination. I've committed to it. Even though Rose has escaped it and is nowhere near, I'm still going to continue with it just to see it through. And Rose just slowly moves backwards, and then as soon as she throws that kick and she's out of position, it's just here's a couple punches. I thought she actually looked pretty good in this fight. I know there's probably a lot of Rose haters out there who would not like it, but I actually enjoyed this one. And everyone's saying, oh, these are razor close rounds. First one was pretty close. I thought the second round, Rose was kind of piecing up Miranda. She ends up taking her back, threatens with a choke. You can't really see how close it was or anything like that, the rear naked choke. And then eventually Miranda reverses it, gets her into an arm triangle, and you're like, oh, shit, this looks legitimate. This looks like it might stop the fight here. Here's a nice knee from Miranda that actually Rose landed that takedown. But here's the arm triangle. There was a point where like you could see Rose's eyes, and I was like, "Oh, she's like about to go out. She's for sure about to go out." And then she just didn't. She escaped it well. She went to answer the phone, and you're like, "Oh, that might be the end. If you do that and you don't get it, then." And then she ditched it, kind of frames a little bit, turns away from her, and is able to get out. And then a lot of people gave Miranda that round. I thought that's still probably a Rose round. Because like the last like 30, 40 seconds were good for Miranda, but the whole rest of that round was pretty good for Rose, I would say. Austin says, I don't give a fuck. Rose is still underwhelming and the single most inconsistent fighter I've ever seen. She's not the best. Blunderbuff says some fun Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the second round for sure. Yeah, I liked the grappling in that second round. And then the third round was fun too, I thought. Rose stuck her with a nice, I don't know if it was a jab or like a weird kind of like a, not a lot of arc to a left hook that dropped her, maybe injured her leg, maybe combo of both. But yeah, it was a nice stinging punch, and then Rose jumps on her. The thing that about this fight, and here's actually that moment right after the drop, and you can see, look at Brendan Fitzgerald, look at Charlie Arnold on the left there, cage side. Like, that was a big moment. She drops her and she jumps on her, looks for the kill. There was a couple times in this fight where you could see that like killer instinct and attempt to finish, at least from Rose, where like in their last few fights, it seemed like there was just zero killer instinct, and you're like, okay, at least we're getting like Rose trying to finish when that opportunity comes. So that was nice to see. But ultimately, she doesn't get the finish. She kind of just opts to the ground control for the rest of the round and gets the win. Let's see. John Margliano went 27-30, 30-27. Why did I say it backwards? Derek Clearly, 30-27. Ron McCarthy, 28-29. Yeah, this is the worst website to look at the scores. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty easy win for Rose as far as scoring goes. She almost got choked out in the second, though, so that was fun. Go says, I like to see Rose lose because of that annoying Rose guy that trolls Slacky's channel whenever she wins. Oh, no, I don't know if I've seen that. He might come out. But it was a fun fight. I like this fight. And, you know, I know a lot of people were thinking, like, oh, this is the co-main event. Like, oh, shit, we're in for a rough one. And surprisingly, the dumpster fire that was this card, which we haven't really gotten into, this was actually kind of like one of the shining spots. And maybe that's why I was more high on this fight, was because by comparison, it was like, wow, a real fight. Instead of sparring matches or like weird no contests and fouls and shit like that. But yeah, fun fight. Props to Rose. Good win. And hopefully Miranda's not too injured. But we can move on. What do we have after this? We are skipping Shabazian versus Petrosky because it sucked. We put in Cody Garbrandt versus Barcelos. Mostly because I wanted to talk to Ramiro about it because he's a Cody Garbrandt boy, because he's an alpha male boy. But then Ramiro's son's baseball, his kid keeps winning in these baseball tournaments, so they go long. He can't make it back for the show. So props to them. So we can kind of just skip through these pictures, Rich. The funniest part about this was the first round, Cody is landing big shots, and he does his signature dance, and we're like, do we have vintage Cody back? And then he lost the next 2 rounds, and he kind of just gassed out. And then we had this tweet that came up. They forgot to make it transparent, so it blacked out the whole screen, which is fucking awesome. Just great production value. It's just so funny. And then, but it was actually a decent scrap. Barcelos landed a lot of good shots that Cody ate, which is nice to see because in the past, Cody's just been getting dropped left and right. But I like Barcelos too, so this was a decent fight. And Ghost says, oh no, Ramiro's an alpha male boy. Why? It's more he was an alpha male boy from back in the day, like the old days, like WEC, those days. He was a big fan. I mean, we're both, you know, he's not here anymore, but we're both like Northern California guys, so like. And during the WEC days, like Faber's whole crew was like not super local to us, but close enough where we're like, guys, that's pretty cool what they're doing. TJ, you know, TJ's local to my. I have family that are close with TJ's family. So yeah, alpha male that's kind of why. Blend Rope says felt like fight of the year after the first 2 main card fights. I mean, yeah, maybe that's also Jesus Christ. So we can get into that. We can move on to the next one. Mansur Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, the first round horrible. Second round pretty horrible as well. Abdul Malik he's promising. He went 9-0 now after this fight. He's 8-0 coming into this. He's only had a couple UFC fights, and they're basically contender series fights if we're being honest, but the third round was actually worth talking about and was fun while it lasted until it was horrible. Here's a front kick that was cool. That Cody Brundage clearly was hurt by, but toughed it out. Cody Brundage has been kind of a dog lately. Win or lose, he's been taking some beatings and sticking in there. But third round starts, and immediately Mansur runs across the cage, does like a jumping fake knee, and then steps down with the same side hand, cracks Brundage, drops him. Brundage gets up, and then they just fucking swang and bang. And it was like Brundage versus was it Marquez recently, where he got cracked and he was like, "Fuck it, if I die, I die. At least I'll try to kill him." And they just stood there swinging at each other, and he got the win. That was Brundage, right? Make sure I'm not wrong about that. Yes, it was his last fight in March. Jesus Christ. And then, so they're just standing there trading with each other, and then they stop for a second, and Brundage is like, "Yeah." They go again for a second, and then Brundage kind of circles away. Mansur runs at him, throws this knee that you can tell on the left side here. Brundage gets his own knee up and blocks that knee. He immediately goes down after this and gets finished, and they're like, "Wow, did the knee hurt him to the body? Like, what happened?" And it's even live, it was clear as day that he sprinted at him with his head and cracked him with his head. But yeah, the knee, I've seen some people say, "No, it was the knee." No, the knee misses. It lands on like the thigh, basically. And then he just crashes in. You can see on the right-hand side there is his head just smashing the temple of Brundage. And in motion, especially on that angle in slow motion, it's brutal because even what little hair Brundage has, it's not like he has long hair, on the impact, you can see it like shift. It looks like a video game with like the hair physics turned up, like Witcher 3 or some shit. The hair physics turned up super high. But yeah, he cracks him with his head. Brundage immediately goes down, holding the top of his head, and then Abdul Malik just tees off on him. This ref was a tough one, I'll be honest, this night. But who was this? Let me find out who this was really quick. This ref, Abdul Malik. They say right. It was Brent McKeon. He also did the Phil Rowe fight, which we will talk about. But yeah, he beats the crap out of him on the ground, and then yeah, they get the win. Well, so they stop the fight. Ghost says, "What are the odds we see Brundage on another Fight Night main card?" I know, seriously. They keep putting him on there, and he keeps having these weird kind of fights. Abdul Razak Al Hassan was a no contest. It's just, yeah, it's tough. But they go to decision, and you're like, well, the guy just knocked him out with a headbutt. That's an illegal strike, so that should probably just be like a no contest. No, he wins by technical decision because they had already started the third round. The first two rounds had been completed, and because of that, they're like, well, we score the third round up until the end, and then we score that whole round like that. And so they go to decision, they give it to Mansur because he was winning, obviously. Austin says, rules are only a suggestion in the UFC unless you're Juliana up kicking their new cash cow, then you're legit allowed to foul as much as you want, however you want, with zero consequences. Look, this is per the rules, this was the way it's supposed to happen, but the rules are all like basically made up at this point. The UFC has a ton of influence on the athletic commissions. It's still a young sport. Like, this can be changed. Like, this is so stupid for them to be like, well, these are the rules. We gotta follow the rules. It's so stupid. Like, if I win 2 rounds and go out there and accidentally foul the guy so bad the fight can't continue, then I just get the win. Like, that's crazy, right? And like, I feel like anybody who defends that, it's because of the rules. Which, yeah, if those are the rules, those are the rules. But like, what are we doing? Like, just let's change these fucking rules then. It seems like a massive oversight. Ghost says vibes-based rules. Yeah, I mean, like, what the fuck? We have fighters who are on camera publicly talking about how they will foul on purpose because they know they'll just get a warning. Like, Derek Lewis talks about, like, if I'm tired or if I get hit pretty good, I'll just knee the guy in the nuts because then he has to take a break and then I'll get a warning and then I can catch my breath back. Like, it's crazy. I feel for Cody Brundage, man. Like, yeah, he was losing this fight, but I mean, there was still like 4 minutes left in this round that he could have done something. Anything could happen, you know what I mean? For the guy, and I think Mansur talked after, he's doubling down. He's like, that's a legit win for me. I finished him. And you're like, I guess so, man. That's, if you want to go that way, that's cool. But pretty lame. Austin says there's zero consistency in the rules, though. It's legit fight by fight basis and usually feeding on the ref or how big the star power is. Yes, but also don't forget the location. Like, we just had them in, was it Jersey? And Jersey's like, yeah, we use the unified rules, but not the most current version of the unified rules. So they don't have the new grounded opponent rules in effect over there in Jersey. And you're like, or the 12-6 elbows. They don't allow that in Jersey either. And you're like, then how the fuck are the rules unified? Why would you call them the unified rules if different states use different versions of it and like Canada, some regions in Canada use different versions of the unified rules too. It's just stupid. It's all stupid. But the alternative is the UFC acting as their own athletic commission, which they do sometimes when they go to like Abu Dhabi and shit like that, which we probably don't want in the long term. We need even if it's corrupt, we still need, I think, a governing body kind of running this for the UFC instead of the UFC doing it, because it would be a lot worse if the UFC was running their own shit. Go says Ankalaev fouled Johnny Walker and got a no contest instead of a DQ in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, see, like, I mean, and in Abu Dhabi, I think they've changed it very recently, but the UFC operates as their own commission over there. Maybe they've changed that. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, it's a shit show. The rules are a shit show, and we're going to continue into more shit shows because we're skipping Alonzo Menafield versus Umar because that was a horrible fight, and it was basically sparring, and we don't cover sparring on this show, so we are moving on to the prelims, the main event of the prelims, the fight that everybody wants to talk about, and I am bummed that Ramiro's here, or not here, to talk about this one specifically because I wanted to see his take on it. We haven't talked about it because we don't usually talk about the fights until we do this. But we had Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Bellato. Okay, so what happened? They were fighting. Paul Craig's doing his kicky thing, right? We can skip through a couple pictures, which no one really cares about what was happening in this fight, actually. But Paul Craig's kicking like he does, with his hands down like he does. Bellato was hitting him in the face like what usually happens in Paul Craig fights. And then good takedown defense. He would dig this underhook and then just rip it up, clasp his hands, and then just turn Paul Craig over. He ends up on top. Then, while they're on the ground, he goes to a knee, and Paul Craig up kicks him. And I wish there was a better shot of this. The only other angle that shows kind of where the kick where it landed is very blurry because there's a lot of motion going on. But he kicks him in the head. He falls back, and he looks at the ref like, "Whoa, ref, that's illegal. What the fuck are we doing?" And then he continues to fall back, and then he lands. And this shot right here is this picture's hilarious, just because like the refs pose here with Paul Craig just on his back with his legs up, and then Bellato still kind of complaining. This is the moment he hits his back, and there's like that shock, sometimes when you hit the ground, and then your head snaps back and hits. This was that shock moment of his back hitting the mat where the head would snap back, but he keeps it up. He's forcefully keeping his head up. And then, like half a second later, he goes, put my head down. And live, I was like, okay, yeah, he's just going to chill there for a second, regain his breath, just make sure he's not rocked. Don't try to stand up and fall over or anything like that. But then Paul Craig gets up to like argue. Now this is him out cold, right? And it's so funny because like all the memes of like the jiu-jitsu guy, like the butt scooter jiu-jitsu guys, where they're like, all right, yeah, let's throw it down, and then they just like hop on their back. This just looks like something like that. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to make a good joke about it, but there's something there. But then Paul Craig gets up and he complains to the referee, or he's like, what happened? Like, what do you mean? Like, he was up. Paul Craig didn't know his knee was down when he kicked him. So he's like, what the fuck? Meanwhile, Bellato just spazzes for a second. Like, he wakes up and he looks horrified. He looks like me when I was 10 years old. I watched The Shining, 8 years old or something like that. Too early. I was terrified. And he scoots all the way back. This is me in bed watching The Shining when I was 8 years old right here. And the ref walks over and he's like, bro, it's all good. It's over. Don't worry about it. It's all good. And he looks up at the ref and then he's like, I'm fighting you, dude. And he fucking knee shields him. He tries to sweep him with a hand on the ankle. He fights him for like a good solid 15 seconds. And then he'll like pause and like look up at him. And then he's like, nah, dude, I'm sweeping you. And then he'll go for it again. And then he'll like pause. He's like, nah, I can't let you get in my guard. And he goes again. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? For like 30 seconds or something like this. It's crazy, dude. It's fucking nuts. And I don't know, man. All the discourse is, was he faking it, right? Man, it looks so fake because the way he goes. Can you go back, Rich, to the picture of him looking at the ref after the kick? A couple more, sorry. The one right after the kick. One more. This one here. Does that look like someone who's about to go unconscious from a punch or a kick or like a strike? Not really. And we have seen people get delayed knockout reactions. Like the big one is the Shane Burgos one, right? Where he gets cracked and then he's like still like fighting. He's kind of taking steps back and then he just like shuts off. And you're like, oh, fuck. And like Shane Burgos is a dog. So like he's not faking that shit. That shit was actually terrifying. This one was weird because he's like fully conscious looking at the ref as he's going down, like, whoa, dude. And then it looks like you can see the decision to go lay flat. It really does. And Ghost says, why are you watching The Shining at 8 years old? I don't know, dude. I don't know. But it was tough. It freaked me the fuck out. Love the movie now. My mouse pad is shining. I have a shining blanket on the couch over there. You can't really see in the camera anymore, but yeah, it scarred me. But yeah, he's since made a statement. He said, I would never do this. You guys have seen me in wars. Like, why would I ever do this? He said he looked at the ref, and as he was falling, when he was complaining, he said he was looking at the ref to complain, and then he said he felt super tingly, and he started seeing stars, and then he went unconscious, which, you know, knockouts are weird. So if we're going to give the benefit of the doubt, like, that doesn't sound too crazy to me, because knockouts are weird as fuck. Like, brain injuries are just weird. And everyone's like, well, normally when you see somebody get knocked out, they go out immediately. But then sometimes we don't. And it's just weird. The Shane Burgos one is the perfect example. I mean, the guy was on his feet, hands up, taking steps backwards, like defensively sound, and then just like shut off. So like, it can happen. The weird thing is how long he fought the ref after the fact is crazy, because even when we see, usually when guys fight the ref, it's only for like, it's just for a little bit, and then they're like, oh, okay. This one, he was like, they had that oh, okay moment twice, and then he kept going back to fight the ref after that, which again, I mean, fucking, if he did get knocked out, I mean, it's kind of understandable. It's a weird thing. Like, your brain's not operating correctly, and so for us to sit in a non-knocked out state, and even if you haven't, I've been knocked out before. It's not like it's not the same all the time. For me, I remember the shot that knocked me out. I remember it, and then yeah, you wake up different, and you're like, "What the fuck? This sucks. This feels weird. How much time has passed?" You don't know all that stuff, or at least I didn't know all that stuff. But I still to this day remember the punch that did it, and the setup for it, and why I got caught with it. But just because that's my experience in that knockout doesn't mean that all knockouts are like that, right? There's other knockouts where people say, like, I don't remember 10 minutes leading up to that knockout. It's gone out of my memory. So it's just so weird. It's head trauma is just so weird. So I don't want to crucify the guy for something like that, because like, who am I to say, really? But god damn, he didn't make it. It's very difficult to defend. Yes, I do remember the heel hook. It was on Olivier Coste, the heel hook, in one. I mean, exactly. Like, sometimes it goes for a while. He heel hooked Olivier. Olivier's like tapping and rolling with him, and luckily didn't get hurt or anything. But sometimes it does go on for a while. Someone who is maybe an expert on this is someone who did get an illegal knee. Also, there's some people you can argue that the heel didn't even land. It landed kind of here and then into the neck more, but the initial impact was like kind of on the collarbone. But I mean, neck shots knock people out too. It is weird that there's so many weird aspects to it. The whole delayed knockout, the shot didn't really land flush on a spot that you would expect for a knockout to come from, and then how long he fought the ref for a seemingly not so hard shot. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that makes it seem like he was faking it. But again, it's kind of not my place. Maybe, I don't know what you guys think. If you guys think it was fake or not, if he was acting, what do you guys, let me know what you guys think. But I will let you know what Anthony Smith thinks, who is somebody who does have the authority to speak on this. Blunderbro says, faked or not, we don't get to this point if the striking is legal. That's a great point too. Up kicks should be legal. In my opinion, all up kicks should be legal, even if the guy's downed. Watch Saika Azawa in Ryzen. She utilizes kicks to the head off her back and guard really, really well. And the people she's fighting are fine. Like, it's stupid that that's illegal. It's a stupid rule. But here is Anthony Smith, who, you know, would have been a champ if he took the easy way out or gave up when John Jones kneed him in the head on the ground. He says, you see his eyes come to the referee to get to protest. Then he realizes, maybe I can get a free win. Lays there, pretends he's unconscious, jolts back awake, allegedly, Allegedly. The referee comes over. That is a man that is awake. Pretends to grapple the referee as if he's unconscious, trying to get a cheap win. I've been doing this a long time, and I know what it looks like when somebody is faking it. Like I said, I am not an expert. It's hard for me to say something that adamant. Anthony Smith is kind of an expert on that. Goes as the great turtle heart. I saw Charles Johnson, Angela Hill all say this dude's definitely faking it. Justin Gaethje's definitely faking it. Austin says up kicks like that should be legal. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, kind of crazy. Paul Craig was a class act in the post-fight press conference. They asked him about it, and he was like, "Look, I know a lot of people are saying he flopped. Maybe I need to watch it more, but I don't want to say that he did because like that's crazy." And he was very classy about it. He easily could have been like, this guy took away a win. Luckily for this one, it wasn't like the headbutt. This was a no contest. And again, like Austin says, and like Ghost says about Vibe rules, per the rules, this probably should have been a DQ. Vibe's based rules, yeah. This probably should have been a DQ per the rules because they had not completed the 2 rounds like they did in the other fight with the headbutt. So they don't go to technical decision. And then was it an accident or was it intentional? Sometimes that will declare whether it's a no contest or a disqualification. But it seems like, and I forgot who said this. Somebody said this. A fighter said this. It seems like most likely the commission reviewed the footage because they did. And they were like, yes, this is going to be a DQ. The fight ended because of an up kick that's illegal. That's usually going to be a DQ. It's not like an eye poke where it's an accidental eye poke and then you can't continue. A lot of times that becomes a no contest. This one, usually these types of strikes, it ends in disqualification. But I forgot who the fighter was, but he said most likely they were like, that's a DQ. And then they reviewed the footage. And after reviewing the footage, they were like, this motherfucker's faking it. And we're like, we're just going to do a no contest. We can't give this guy a DQ win. It's like, that might be the case. Whether he was faking it or not, there's a real chance the officials thought that. But yeah, man, it's a weird ass fight. So weird. I watched it a couple times last night. I watched it again a few times this morning when I was texting Ghost because I was like, if I'm going to come up here and talk about it, I should maybe, really be able to stand by what I'm saying here. Because I don't want to shit on a guy. If he wasn't faking it, that would be horrible. Imagine you're so rocked and you're knocked out, and 20 minutes later you're like, I don't remember what the fuck happened, guys. I need to rewatch that. And you rewatch it, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you go on Instagram or Twitter, and everyone's like, this guy's a piece of shit. Cut him. You're like, God damn, guys, I don't even remember it. That would suck. So I don't want to necessarily do that. If he was faking it, absolutely cut him. You can't do that. But man, if that's the reality and he wasn't faking it, that's got to be horrible. It's going to be a tough couple weeks to live this one down. But yes, we can move on. But yeah, if you guys aren't watching live, definitely let us know what you guys thought, if you thought he was faking it and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see. I think most people think he's faking it. We're not gonna talk about Chiesa versus Court McGee. I like Court McGee a lot, but the fight was bad, and we're not gonna cover it. We are going to talk about Malcolm Wellmaker versus Kris Moutinho. Moutinho's back. The guy who fought Sean O'Malley took him to decision, got lit up the whole time, but stuck through it. They brought him back. They cut him. He won like 5 fights in a row since cutting him. He was supposed to be on the Ultimate Fighter, the Chandler versus Connor season, but then Connor brought a few of his boys in. They had to make some room, so he got the axe, which is crazy. But he was doing very well outside the UFC. They bring him back, and we're like, "Oh, Kris is back. That's cool. I like the guy. I'd like to see him succeed." And then they give him Wellmaker, and you're like, "What the fuck are they doing? This is bullshit. Like, that's fucked up. This is not good matchmaking. This is kind of fucked up. This is the UFC putting somebody over. And I mean that with zero disrespect to Kris, but coming back to your UFC debut in a sold-out arena in Atlanta against a hometown guy who's coming off a viral knockout, who looks to be a savage." This is fucked up. It's a mismatch. Let Kris get back into the UFC, give him somebody else, right? No, they gave him Wellmaker. Wellmaker goes out there. He hits him a couple times. Moutinho's struggling. He does land a few times, but it just doesn't have the sting on it. And then Wellmaker knocks him out cold. He comes in, he feints a kick, and then you see here in this picture, he feinted a kick right before this. He just lifted his knee. Moutinho lifts his knee to check, and then he says psych as he puts the leg down. He throws it into the hook. Uses that same energy to put his foot down to dig that torque into the hook, and then catch him while he's on one leg. Is fucking nasty, and he puts him out. Just fucking out. I mean, it's fucking brutal, and we can show it. Shout out to the UFC. Fuck you guys for making this fight, but shout out for putting it on Instagram, the cage side footage. Let me just pull this up really quick. It's gonna be quick here, but here it is. Watch him fake the kick, and then bam. Oh my god, it's fucking brutal. He fakes the right kick to draw the knee up for Moutinho and just fucking snipes him with that right hook. Walk-off KO. One shot, which is crazy because Moutinho, we've seen him take damage. But, I mean, Wellmaker hits hard as fuck. It's just fucked up. Ghost says that we know this is McMahon's doing. Yeah. This fight didn't need to happen. Just reschedule Wellmaker's original fight. Yeah, I mean, look, and you can't protect anybody, right? In the UFC, you can't. If you're in the UFC, you cannot be protected. All these types of things, but we need to have matchmaking make sense. For me, this knockout, it's like, for me, it doesn't do much as far as improving Wellmaker's stock. I don't see him any differently before or after this knockout. It's just like this does nothing. It's like those fights when they have like a. It's not the same, but it's similar to when a rising prospect who's like on the cusp of the like top 5 maybe, and they give him the old vet and yeah, Buckley versus Usman or Colby, like those fights. The aging vet who's on his way out of his contract, and they give him some savage killer, and it's like, okay, he knocked him out. Like, it means nothing. It means nothing. He beat the husk of so and so, right? It means nothing. Fucking Paul Craig TKO'd Shogun, you know, like what the fuck? It means nothing. Blunderbub says this was crazy. People were so hyped about a guy getting a KO as a minus 1650 favorite. Like, yeah, should something else have happened? I mean, come on. It's just like O'Malley's first 5 fights. Yes, exactly. It's just, yeah, it just means nothing. It's a cool knockout, I guess. The technique is nice. The way he faked the kick to drop that lead leg, and then or the I think it was a rear check actually. Maybe not. His right leg. He lifts it, catches him while he's on one leg. It's very cool, but yeah, we just didn't really need it. So it means not much to me, but it's worth talking about. I hope Kris is doing all right. I know he talked about a lot of mental health issues and struggles after the Sean O'Malley fight, but yeah, hopefully he's doing all right because I do like the guy. Yeah, Ghost says it's also no win for Wellmaker because if he did struggle, his stock would go down. Yeah, a win like this doesn't do anything to make you go up. But if he did struggle, then it's like, ooh, maybe we were wrong about this guy. So it's like fucking lose-lose. Except for his bank account, I guess. It's a win-win there. Win-win-win because he gets the bonus as well. But, which is fucking... Okay, we can move on. We are going to talk about... Shout out to the flyweights. Once again, Jose Ochoa versus Cody Durden. This was a fucking banger. It was when they booked it. It was when it finished. Flyweights consistently are what I'm looking forward to the most on some of these cards. And people still don't get behind the flyweights. And it's fucking crazy to me. But consistently, they put on these fucking Dragon Ball Z fights. And they're so fun. And this one, I mean, Ochoa's offense is fucking crazy. He's one of those guys where, like, most of his defense is just his offense. He's like, if I just keep punching, you have to defend. Like, I'm going to keep fucking tagging you. And eventually that kind of got him in trouble a little bit because he got cracked with a big counter right hand, a big overhand right, which is like what you need to look for if you're fighting Durden. Those wrestlers, you know, they'll crack you with a big punch. It's usually the overhand because they set it up with the takedown attempts. And he did get a takedown on Ochoa, but Ochoa got up. This is the Sean Shelby made fight. Yeah. Sean handles the flyweights, I think, right? Or the lower weight classes, mostly. I don't know. But, yeah, this is a fucking banger of a fight. And both these guys are just there for dogfights, you could tell. We know this about Durden. I haven't seen a ton of Ochoa, but he got cracked that big right hand. He stuck with it, and he went back foot on the gas right after that. So fucking kudos to him. But the second round knockout, I believe, right at the start of the second round. Yeah, second round. he gets Cody to try to counter on a shot, and as he's coming up from the shot he just threw, he hits him with like nice like kind of shovel hook. They kept calling it an uppercut, but it was kind of like, yeah, it was a shovel hook really. He cracks him with it, and you're like, ooh, and Durden kind of like stumbles back all the way back to the fence, and you're like, oh, that one got him because he had been tagged a few times, but nothing really like rattled him that bad. But I think there's a picture here. That's the shot. So that hurts him. And then Durden, is that Brian Stan in the back? Shout out Brian Stan. I thought they were gonna like induct him to the Hall of Fame or something. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Why is he there? But shout out to Brian Stan. Great fighter, great commentator, great seems like a great dude. And then yeah, he walks him all the way back to the fence and then cracks him with his left hand and just fucking puts him out. And then a couple follow-up shots in the ground to finish it off. I mean, just nasty. But fucking great performance by Ochoa. I really like the guy. He just needs to maybe the foot on the gas is what won him the fight, right? But at the same time, he got cracked with that counter, and some of those guys punch hard. And Durden actually hits pretty hard too, but that can get him in trouble moving forward. So things to learn. It's nice if you get a win, and especially a win like this, but then you also get some takeaways that you can improve upon, which is what he got. So Ochoa is someone to watch out for. Like I said, I haven't seen a ton of his fights before. Yeah, he lost the fight to Loner Kavanaugh, which is no slouch. But yeah, lots of finishes at some other places. Bison Combat, LFA. Even Bison Combat sounds sick. But he's got some finishes, man. God damn. He's never won by decision. His only loss was that Loner Kavanaugh fight, which Loner is a fucking savage. Everything else is big wins, finishes, submissions, body knockouts, and then a no contest from an illegal knee. Who would have thought? That wasn't a DQ. It was an illegal knee because it was in round 1. That's someone to watch out for. We can move on. We're 47 minutes in. We're only going to talk about one more fight. We're skipping Ricky Simone versus Smotherman just because I didn't like the fight. There was decent stuff in it, but I just didn't like it. Phil Rowe versus Loosa. Loosa pretty much coasting this whole fight. Just, first round was pretty bad. A lot of like cage control and shit like that. Second round, he's kind of putting it on Phil Rowe a little bit. 2 minutes left or so in the round. Rowe really puts his hands together and he's hurting Loosa. And Losa's like, what the fuck, dude? You're not going to steal this round from me. And then potentially blows his wad and just goes savage berserker mode on Phil Rowe and ends up dropping him at the end of the second. And you're like, oh, fuck, dude. Well, he took that round back. If Phil Rowe was trying to steal it, he shut the door on that shit. And then third round, Losa's just kind of slower. Phil Rowe cracks him, knocks out his mouthpiece. This is the same ref from the headbutt fight. And his mouthpiece is out. Ref has no idea. Doesn't care. There's plenty of times where they could have paused it and got the mouthpiece back. They didn't. Then Phil Rowe just keeps tagging him. He's got Loosa up, his back up against the fence. He can't really shoot, even though he did have a nice takedown earlier in the fight off the fence, and he turned the corner and basically reversed the position on a very cool takedown. But yeah, Phil Rowe just cracks him. No mouth guard. He gets him into this position. He hurts him like a couple times. He gets him up against the fence and just has his hand on his face like this, thumb under the chin, and the rest of the hand on his face. And it's just like, there you go. Thanks, Rich. Holding him in place and just fucking punching him in the face. No mouth guard, like 6 or 7 punches right to the jaw. And knowing that his mouth guard is out is fucking, it's like, oh my God. One of the most violent finishes in a while. Just beat the brake. It was like, just fucking beat the brakes off of him, dude. And then hits him one solid time and then just kind of walks off as he falls. And it's just like, holy shit, man. I mean, some of these punches are fucking nasty. Rich is going wild. But yeah, it's a violent finish for Phil Rowe. If that's the type of finish guys probably want to get. It was fucking sick. A little hard to watch knowing the mouth guard wasn't in and the ref just like not giving a fuck about it. But I mean, also probably could have stopped it earlier, but he didn't. And so hopefully his teeth are okay. Hopefully he didn't lose a tooth. But yeah, that's it. We're not going to talk about the first fight. Blunderwolf says, I was so mad during this fight. Rowe has the build to do all the shit I want to see, teeps, knees, etc. And he kept trying to phone booth box with Loosa. Yeah. When he fights with his range, you can see this guy's very good. But yeah, he does like to fight in tight. And you're like, why are you doing that? Because even at the end of this fight, and when he hurt Loosa early in the second or late in the second round also, it was stuff off the end of his punches where he's got the center of the cage, Losa's back is up against the fence, and he's clipping him with these long shots, cool knees, but it's just not super often. Blunderwolf says boo, probably for my bad joke. I fucked up the delivery on it, but what are you gonna do? We're not talking about Jamie Lynn Horth versus Vanessa Demopoulos because, oh my god, it was bad. So we are going to go into moment of silence for the fights that we had lost. Yeah, shout out to Phil Rowe. Jamie Lynn Horth was supposed to fight Teresa Bleda. That fight fell through. Demopoulos goes up a weight class, steps in, gets beat up. Volkov versus Jalton Almeida could have been very cool. Interesting fight. I like Volkov a lot. I know a lot of people hate Almeida, but he does bring in... he brings something to the table that is interesting to see how guys are going to deal with it. So for that, I thank you. But that didn't happen. And then Ricky Simone was originally supposed to fight Charles Jourdain, which would have been very fun. But Jourdain had like a freak eye injury, and he might have to get surgery on one of his eyes, which is fucking horrifying. Because for me, that's one of my phobias is stuff with the eyes. It's scary. But instead, Smotherman stepped in and got smothered, man. So that sucked also. That's it for moment of silence. Bonuses, we had Wellmaker got one for knocking out Moutinho in his return. Kind of brutal. And then I believe Ochoa got one. Yes, Ochoa got a bonus. And then fight of the night they gave to Usman versus Buckley. I think Phil Rowe probably deserved a bonus. I think he was on his way to losing that decision until the finish. And it was a dangerous, nasty finish. They didn't give it to him. But that's it. So, yeah, that's UFC Atlanta. Dumpster fire that it was. Just a shit show all around. At least the co-main was good. And the main event was decent enough. But, man, it was rough going for a while there. 6.5 hours of, like... I mean, the arena, like, basically ran out of booze. It was bad. But next week, we have... is this the one? The Baku over in Azerbaijan? It is. We have Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill. Or do we? Jamal Hill was supposed to fly out there today or something like that and chose not to. His whole team did. And the last minute he said, I'm not getting on this flight because they have to fly over Israel and Iran. And he was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. So I'm bailing. And his whole team, I think, flew to Azerbaijan, which is crazy. So hopefully that fight happens. It's a fun fight. Co-main is Fiziev versus Bahamondes, which is awesome. We got Blades in there against Rizvan, which is weird because Rizvan's, 13-2-1. He hasn't fought since August of 2024 when he won his Contender Series fight, and then he's since had 3 fights canceled. And they're like, let's keep making the same fight against Curtis Blades and see what happens. So maybe that fight will happen finally. Oralbai versus Taufik is in the UFC. Oh my god. Taufik is cool, man. Ryzen, Bellator, champion outside of the UFC. He's a cool guy. Against Oralbai, that's a fucking sick fight. Sadikov versus Nicholas Mata could be fun. I like Sadikov. Naimov, all the homies hate Naimov against Bogdan Grad could be good. Oban Elliott is back against Seokyeon Ko. Could be good. Hopefully I nailed that. We got Iron Turtle back against Nordiev. Maxim is back against Ulanbekov. Hamdi is back from his multiple steroid suspensions against Muhammad. Jesus Christ. Muhammad Usman versus Hamdi is hilarious. Yeah. Blunderwolf said Atlanta felt like another one they should have paid him to watch. Agreed. Go says, I hate mid-cards worse than bad cards. I'm only here for something spectacular or something really bad. Yeah, exactly. At least we had the... Shout out Bellato. He also says, most important question of the day: thoughts on Gordon Ramsay as a chef and a TV personality. Oh, brother. As someone who has watched a decent amount of Hell's Kitchen and a decent amount of Kitchen Nightmares, and the video of him just fucking up that grilled cheese sandwich on YouTube, on his YouTube show or something. It's just horrible. The worst grilled cheese. The cheese isn't even fucking melted, and he's eating it and trying to play it off like he fucking nailed it. And you're like, Gordon, what? Record another take, bro. Uh, Hilarious. It's just fucking blocks of cheese in a sandwich that he like burnt on a fucking stove or something. Um, and then what's the other thing? James May from Top Gear, the video of them where they're trying to make like a dish. They have to make the same dish and then present it to like a group of people at a restaurant, and they have to pick which one's better. And James May is just fucking blasted off wine. He's just wasted and he's fucking around and he beats him, and it's hilarious because James May is just fucking that guy. And I've eaten at his restaurant. I've eaten at his Hell's Kitchen restaurant. I like him. It's long-winded, but I do like him. I think he's funny. I think he is probably a decent person behind his persona on TV. I like Gordon Ramsay. I'll go on record. I like him. I know a lot of people in the industry do not like what he set as far as like expectations for other people getting into the industry and kind of like enabling this like crazy culture in the kitchen of like just shitting on people and shouting at them. But I don't work in the kitchen, so I don't really give a fuck. Austin says, thanks for the stream, man. Gotta run. Looking forward to the next one. Can't wait for the next one card. Hey, shout out to Austin. Have fun. Happy Father's Day. Ghost says James May from Top Gear is the GOAT. If you haven't seen the video of him competing against Ramsay, it's so fucking funny. I think there's another one of them together where they have to eat like this. They're in like Iceland or something, and they have to eat like a fermented whale or some shit that's been like in the ground for like a year. And Gordon's like about to puke, and James is just like, I don't give a fuck, dude. And he's just eating it, doesn't care, just stonewalls him. And Gordon is like, how are you doing this? It's so funny. Shout out old school Top Gear. That's it. That was UFC Atlanta. That's the take on Gordon Ramsay. Thank you, Ghost, for keeping the show interesting. Yeah, fermented shark. He's seen it. Shout out Rich for producing this episode. He fucking killed it. It's nice having Rich back. We've been like a weird kind of. It's been busy as we approach summer. It's been busy trying to get all three of us together on these shows, but it's nice when Rich is here. He fucking kills it. So give your thanks and your love to Rich, and thank you all for listening to another week of Story of the Fight.